Oh, there you go. Good morning. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is on. It's Greg J in the morning. Yeah, good morning. We're just going to chit chat today. Coffee Conversations with Greg J is a space where we discuss culturally relevant topics from a global perspective. News topics, lifestyle topics, intentional concentration on arts and culture from a global perspective today. Got a little bit of variety for you. We're going to take this first half hour just to contemplate, hopefully, some of the people that we've asked to jump in. We asked them at the last minute to kind of give us a 411 of what's going on out in their spaces, in their places, in the community. You can view this broadcast on our Facebook page, which is Coffee Conversations with Greg J. You can get it on the Columbus Coffee Company Facebook page, my personal Facebook page, Greg Johnson. You know that where that is. You're over there on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, thank you so much for tapping in with us. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Help me get my algorithms up. Like the video, subscribe to the playlist, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. That'll give us a lot of help as we grow and emerge in this digital media space. We're doing a new thing, and we know that. And especially with maybe the age group that we seem to attract, which is a more adult audience, things move a little slower, but not a lot. We're just growing, and we're just really trying to be a reliable source of information and news and lifestyle from a Black perspective, global, not preaching hate, just coming from through our lens. You know, when you got your digital device and you're tapping through, we want to be a destination for you to get some great information, some great inspiration. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Oh, yeah, we also podcast this audio only. We repurpose the audio and we put it out as a podcast, and you can grab that wherever you get your favorite podcast, Spreaker, iHeart, Google Podcast, Apple, just wherever, just put it in there. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So much going on as usual. It's a hot summer everywhere that you go. I actually love it in California. It seems normal a little bit that it would be hot, but it's the middle of summer. The man has a song, "Hotter Than July," right? July, it's hot, but we have to admit, when we look across the country, when we look across the state, we do see abnormal temperatures. We do see a lot of wildfires, which we've always had wildfires in California, but they seem to be coming at a high regularity. And they're saying it's because of climate change. The president of the United States, Joe Biden, earlier this week declared a climate emergency in the United States. I think climate change is very, very real, and I'm actually working on a Coffee Conversations where we're going to have some very influential scientists in this space join us to begin to talk about the effects of climate change. I mean, for me, I hear climate change in the United States, but it didn't really hit my chest as a reality until I started talking to some of my friends on the continent. And as you know, on the continent of Africa, agriculture is very, very important to the being and the GDP of a lot of those nations. And, your friends will be talking about, how seasons and everything have drastically changed. And then they'll say, yeah, this climate change is really hitting us hard. It's like, wow, we really need to, think about this even the more. I know former Vice President Al Gore is the one who was ringing the alarm for us, what climate change was going to do to our nation in our part of the world. And indeed, it is happening right now, right before our very eyes. On the other hand, not to be a conspiracy theorist, But when I was in terrestrial radio, I was part of a program, and we had this metaphysicist scientist that would come on. His name is Dr. Delbert Blair. I know that some of you may remember Dr. Delbert Blair. And I remember my first day on this particular show that he was the guest, and he began to talk about how the government could manipulate weather, right? And I thought it was the biggest crock of bull that I had ever heard in my life. And I was a little teed about it, and so I left out of the studio and went back to my computer, Googled, climate, weather changing, and the program, the HAARP program, that's what he called it, HAARP, the HAARP program, where the military was experimenting on ways to manipulate the weather, and they would use this as a tactical weapon to slow down troop movements and all of this here. It's just a far-fetched thing that I just was like, dude, this is why y'all is in trouble all the time. Oh man, when my results came up, oh my goodness, it was just really incredible that this is a thing, weather control. So I can't help but think, as I watch all of this, as I watch even during hurricane season, we're seeing hurricanes at categories of power that we've not seen in hundreds of years, if ever. And I wonder, is this a manifestation of what Dr. Delbert Blair used to come on and talk about? I got to give it some thought. Like, is this really like our government's controlling the weather? Is the United States under some sort of like attack where we're having all of these abnormal temperatures everywhere across the weather map? Did you watch the weather today? It's like all across the country. It's really, really something, or is this, as those of us who are spiritually inclined, what is the Almighty doing? The books have plenty of examples of extreme weather, plenty of examples of weather as punishment. I'm just thinking out loud. This is Coffee Conversations with Greg J. So it's just a conversation. It's just a contemplation that are well-founded. These thoughts are well-founded. It's like you wonder why, what's going on? Why are we experiencing so much? Out there in San Bernardino, there was a police shooting. They're saying the police shot the man in the back, and there it is. And I guess now Ben Crump and our community activists are going out there to be on the case. And I invited Brother Najee Ali on, last minute. I just sent him the link, and hopefully he'll just tap in and give us a short, perspective on what this particular shooting means. We are tired of police murder. We are tired of indiscriminate shooting and abuse at the hands of law enforcement. At the same time, one has to wonder, if the brother he wasn't a civilian. So I'm just saying, right? But I'm not trying to diss the brother, because any loss of life is tragic. And we do know that the police have this, the history is there. We've been watching a documentary series by Samuel L. Jackson, where they're, going back into Africa, and they're exploring the slave dungeons and the slave castles. And he's got a group of scuba divers that's going down looking for sunken ships. And, the last episode I was watching, it flashed in the back of my mind that, man, we've been fighting against law enforcement from the gate, and that's an interesting perspective, right? The whole thing is, how can so few white men control so many Black captives? And what did that look like? How brutal it was in order to keep the people in check, right? And the episode that I'm on, they're talking about, okay, they didn't just like capture these people and send them through the dungeons with all of the torture and everything like that without some sort of uprising of the people. How did they keep control over so many people? And it's by fear. And it's a profound discussion, and the profound juxtaposition. This one I'm hoping to hear from Brother Najee. It was last minute, so I don't know if he's coming in. A little later on, we're going to have a visit from Councilmember Al Austin from the city of Long Beach. And we just want to talk about, kind of the state of the city as we have been pivoting in this day and time of COVID recovery. But doggone it, are we really recovering out of COVID? It's more than a notion. President Biden tested positive for COVID this morning. Did y'all see that? Yeah. I thought it was interesting. What does that really mean? So far, so good for me. I mean, I don't think I have the COVID. I got plenty of tests up here. Let's see. Did you get the test in the mail? Let me see. I did. Got a couple of them. Acquired a few tests. So we check that out and make sure that we're okay. Certainly got vaccinated after much deliberation. We were on Coffee Conversations quite a few times with public health officials. Thank you, Dr. Anissa Davis, for coming through and informing the people, talking about COVID in the early days and to vaccinate or not to vaccinate. That is the question, right? So I went on and got vaccinated. But when we made our travels over to the continent of Africa, it was a prerequisite for even getting on the plane. Had to be vaccinated, had to have a current COVID test within 72 hours of boarding the plane, and then you had to pay for the COVID test that you would receive when you arrived in Ghana. When we landed in Ghana, in Accra, Ghana, was right there, Johnny on the spot, getting you off of the plane and taking you right immediately to get tested for COVID-19. It's a lot, brothers and sisters out here. Now they got new variants. I can't even keep up with the variants that they've got now. Can you? I just know we have to be safe. We have to be careful. I want to have a birthday party. Got a birthday coming up this month, and I want to have a birthday party. And I'm a little concerned on whether or not I should do that. I think I'm going to go ahead and move forward with that. So those of you who are friends and family of Greg J, you'll be getting your invitation in the next, probably today. Little gathering, arts and culture. We'll be around a lot of African art, like this. You see, yeah. A lot of friends, great music, and maybe a little bit of food. It's just so much in the world now. I'm watching this Ukraine war situation, and I know that we in America, I guess the narrative that we're being told is that Russia is bad, Ukraine is good. They allowed the wife, the first lady of Ukraine, to come and address America, which I suppose that's unprecedented, and she's, asking us to send more weapons. For me, okay, it's probably another show to discuss what I think about the whole Ukraine situation and what I think is happening to us. I'll just give you the headlines. I see a lot of propaganda, going on. Certainly war is in the world, and we would continue to vibrate peace and love, and, show peace to all mankind, all humanity. This is the essence in which we move about the world, no doubt. But we're not talking about the wars that are happening like in, say, Ethiopia, Cameroon, right? Um, there's other areas where conflict is raging. In Ethiopia, there's a conflict, and the United States is there. They may be in the shadows, or it doesn't make our headlines. Maybe the national consciousness doesn't really care about Africa. I don't think. But the fact of the matter is that the United States is there. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who was from that region, from Ethiopia, and he was sharing the juxtaposition of the United States, or the West. Let's just call it the West, because the United States gangs up on people so they can get their NATO, their friends, and over there in Europe, and they regulate. We're the world's policemen in this area, right? Well, with regard to Africa and East Africa, this is where Ethiopia has never been colonized by the West or any European power. It is the only nation on the continent that has never been colonized by Europeans. They're very proud of that. When we listen to reggae music and they begin to talk about Haile Selassie, Emperor Haile Selassie, and the legacy, all of that, the Lion of Judah, all of these, biblical terms, and all of these divine descriptions can be tied back to Ethiopia. And it's very interesting that Ethiopia has never been colonized by the European. Yet, according to my friend, he being the West, he being the United States, they have exercised misdirection in the region, causing instability, conflict, crises in certain parts of those areas. Why? Because they want to control the natural resources that come out of the soil in Mother Africa. Last Coffee Conversations with Greg J, we were talking about, Ghana and the currency being depreciated to junk status. How can that be when Ghana is one of the leading producers of gold? It's like all of this trickeration is happening. And I just think that we as a people should, keep our eyes open, keep our hearts open to the divine, and continue to vibrate, peace and love, because there's a lot of heavy duty factors at work, against us in the global scale. And I hope that we can continue to thrive and continue to be woke. Isn't that what we say? Stay woke. Remember that? Yeah. Man, just so much to discuss. I'm 9:30. We'll check out Al Austin. Tonight, this is what I wanted to share. So tonight they're having the prime time coverage of the January 6th hearing. I've been looking for, I don't know if you guys would remember, thank you so much for supporting us, but I don't know if you would remember that shortly after January 6th, I was able to show snippets of a video, which was a point of view recording of someone who was actually at the Capitol. And they, I guess they had a GoPro on or something, and they were going up the steps, over the gates, past the Capitol Police, and into the chambers, the very chambers of, the Capitol during that insurrection. And for some reason, I can't find that video. And I wonder, did they come and hack into my computer and erase it, or what happened? You know what I mean? I don't know. So I'm going to continue to look because it was quite some time, and we've done more than 100 coffee conversations out there. We're working on building up our audience. I'm not a Roland Martin or anything like that, and I've got some situations and circumstances with regard to Facebook where I'm not able to advertise my my programming. And if you know any digital media marketing experts, send them my way because we need to do some things out here to increase our viewership. I have we've had great guests. We've discussed some excellent topics, and we just want to have the opportunity to put our programming out there and it continue to inspire and inform the people. We're coming out with our newspaper, Beach City Perspective. Beach City Perspective. If you go to beachcityradio.com, you'll notice a section called Beach City Perspective. That's our news platform. We are members of the California Black Media Network, the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Black Press USA, AP. We get the news. We're doing all of the work that is required, but we want to go ahead and make it available or make it aware, build awareness to as many people as. Thank you so much for supporting us here on Coffee Conversations with Greg J. We are beginning to look at re-examining our trips to Ghana or to Africa, to Southern Africa for jazz festivals, to Ghana. We are taking a trip at the end of the year back to Ghana, and we're going to go for an extended time so that we can strengthen our relationships, our cultural and business relationships with the brothers and sisters on the continent, because we are walking the talk. We are about building bridges of music, arts, and culture with Africa and African Americans. And we are walking that talk, establishing those lines. So what does the commerce look like, right? What does the exchange of information look like? What does the tourism look like? And so this is tourism exchange. This is what we are all about. If you want to go with us, hit me up, just inbox me. I'll tell you all about it. Shout out to African Focus. August 20th, I will be formally inducted into a African family, and I'm really excited about it. If you want to hang out with me and support, inbox me there also, and I'll share with you how you can attend that fantastic ceremony that's happening in Los Angeles on August 20th. And they've got a king from Uganda, and I'm going to try to see if I can get the king on. Wouldn't that be awesome to have a king, an African king, here on Coffee Conversations with Greg J. I am fascinated with African monarchies because you know what, man? We always hear about Britain and we always hear about Queen Elizabeth and the royals, and they tend to dominate our headlines. We join with the English people to royal watch. This is an American thing, right? Part of pop culture. It has always amazed me that we do so, just because, I felt like the American Revolution, the basis on which this country was founded, was to revolt against the crown, right? And have its own independence. This is what how America was birthed. But yet and still, we pay such deep homage to the crown. It's crazy to me. I might be the only one in the whole wide world that feels that way, but it is crazy. On the other hand, when I look at my brothers and sisters on the continent of Africa, I do see that there are kingdoms, huge kingdoms, important kingdoms. And in this modern time, no question about it, like one of my friends down in South Africa, kind of chuckles when I have this discussion with him because he talks about, well, we're more educated now. But yet and still, the government, as they operate in these modern times, modern government, they still have to, create a relationship with what they call traditional leadership. And those are the kings and the chiefs. You have the paramount chiefs, you have these kings and all of that. And inside of that are stories, just like we royal watch with the uh, British crown. There's stories that dominate African news media. And now with the magic of the internet, you can go onto YouTube or just Google, African news and see what's happening. What are they reporting on to their people? I like the SABC, the South African Broadcasting Corporation. Remember, we had Sister Nomsa, who's a senior editor within that organization, and she was able to share with us, how much of a story that is. The Zulu King and the Zulu King Goodwill Zwelithini passed away a year or two ago. The Queen, his sixth wife, took over, and then she died. And so, upon the reading of the will, they were able to get the king that they have now, King Misi Zulu. And there's controversy. It's a big story. It's a big story. Dominates their headlines. It's a big story. And so we were able to share some of that. We had Dr. Valafi Mkezi. We've had him on twice. The second time didn't go so well. His connection down there was really, really interesting. We couldn't get him on. Sometimes the internet over there is a little crazy. I often wonder why the mainstream here doesn't at least touch on some of the African news stories. As an example, with this heat wave, we were talking about climate change earlier on, and with this heat wave that is happening, I'm noticing the Weather Channel is, including Europe in its report, because there was a tremendous heat wave assaulting Europe right now. And I said, okay, cool. That's good information as we look global. It's good information for us to receive, good to be globally conscious of what's happening in this whole world. But there's no mention of Africa. Why can't they do the same for African? So you could do African cities. In Johannesburg, it's like this. In Accra, it's like this. In Libreville, it's like this. Whatever the consciousness or what they find newsworthy. But what they do is they keep us completely in the dark of what's happening in these African nations. And so it's up to platforms like mine and others out there that will keep our finger on the pulse of what's happening on the continent of Africa. Why? Because those are our people. It is profound to me. Yes, we're Americans, no question. When we begin to search back our lineage, we go back and we know our family, we go down to Texas or Florida, you probably go to Mississippi or Georgia, Alabama, you know what I'm saying? Louisiana, you know what it is. Okay, because we have hundreds of years, generations of us here in this nation. But the root of it all is that we came from the transatlantic slave trade. And it is important for us to recognize that. It is important for us to find out our roots. Again, we've been watching this docu-series with Samuel L. Jackson, and his people are from Gabon. I couldn't remember the name, had a brain fart there. His lineage was from Gabon, and he was able to go back and even find out what tribe he was from. And he had to sit down with the king of his people and all that, man. It is just great. It is great to know, right? Okay, somebody in your bloodline made it through the slave dungeons, the horrible, brutal trip across the Atlantic Ocean, and got here to America. Somebody in your blood, so one of your, if you black, you an American descendant of slave, or if your people are Caribbean or all that. Somebody called me. I was talking to somebody, and they were happy to discover that they were part Choctaw Indian, and I love that they discovered that. And in the back of my mind, I was like, it would be interesting to see how that intersection happened. Because we're very quick to tell people, oh, I'm part Indian if you find that within your bloodline. So how did that happen? When these enslaved people, the enslaved Africans, were in this country, and during the hundreds of years of slavery, they have been, it's a society, it's a life, it's hundreds of years, right? How movements of the people, migrations, all of that, and we did intersect with Native Americans. We did have allies with Native Americans. That's why a lot of you are able, and proudly so, to say, okay, I'm part Choctaw Indian. And that's very interesting. And then the other piece is, I don't know if you guys saw one of our presentations here during Creator Studio was the reflections of Juneteenth. And one profound section of that was the discovery of the Muskogee people, who, an Indian tribe, a Native American tribe that intersected with escaped slaves. And these descendants of those intersections celebrate Juneteenth. And they celebrate Juneteenth not only in Texas, but over across the border in Mexico, because this is where they settled. And so, yes, we can draw these anthropological lines through, so from Mother Africa into the Americas and the Caribbean, and then in slavery, our people, moving about, however that occurred, whether it was through escaping or manumission, or however, that freedom occurred, intersected with Native tribes here in America. Yeah, so there it is, man. I'm just sitting here talking to you, trying to have a conversation. Hopefully folks can come in. Let me grab my glasses and see if how far away we are from talking to, Councilmember Al Austin. I think he, there he is. Okay. Let me just hit him up right here. Okay, yes. Oh, okay. I think it's also a good time to watch your diet, right? Exercise. Uh, you know, um, hold on one second, y'all. Let me get him this link. And we can begin to have this outstanding conversation, a conversation with an outstanding man. I think he's a good guy. Listen, I'm trying to support everybody black. I want us to win. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel about it. And we just want to. We need proper representation. We need strong and good representation, balanced representation, because we are part of the system, right? And that's the what we need. And we need people that are out there making stuff happen. And I think most of the African American political leadership across Southern California is solid to me. I really love Holly Mitchell. I think I met her once. Uh, I've not had the interactions with her like I've had with other, politicians in the area. But hold on, council member. I'm forwarding this to you so that we can get our conversation on. All right, you should have it there. Let's see. You know, yeah, you just need solid people in place, and to look out for our interest. You know, I talk a lot about Africa and Pan Africanism, and I do have a consciousness that is Pan African in nature. Um, I was sharing with someone not too long ago that in my career as a broadcaster, I have always worked at a Black media air, entity, and most of you know me from the radio station here in Los Angeles. But even prior to that, I worked at a national radio network. You remember a few weeks back, we had Lee Bailey on here, and we were talking about our uh, exploits with the radio scope. And, that was a lot of fun. It was my first real job. It was my first in this industry. It was my first executive job in this industry. And it was a lot of fun. But what was so valuable with that is being able to talk to Black radio programmers, owners, general managers across the country, and where they began to talk about their how important Black media is. Regina Wilson of California Black Media Network, you've seen her on here as we analyze, electoral issues and everything out of Sacramento, the California Black Media Network. This is the conversation I have almost every week with the sister. We know that our people, we need, the conversation just needs to be the entity of Black media. So I hope that you are getting your newspapers if you can. I know it's passe to have the printed newspaper and everything, but I think also in our community we need that. I hope you're supporting them with your advertising dollars. I hope you're reading them. We really need that because we're talking about issues and topics and news that is important to your community. You know, I know we were having a chat about. Hold on. Okay. Cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, there it is. Did you hear about Bruce Beach? So they got their deed yesterday or day before yesterday. I guess it was yesterday. Anyway, it was this week. They got their deed. Bruce's Beach is the section out there in Manhattan Beach, California, that was owned back in the early 1900s by owned by the Bruce family. For African Americans could come to the beach and go to that resort, and through a number of tactics, including eminent domain by the city of Manhattan Beach, they were, the land was taken from them. So took a couple of years, I see, They made a fight, and the county of Los Angeles deeded it back to the Bruce family, the descendants. And now the descendants are going to lease the land. Um, they're going to lease the land to the county for more than $450,000, and that's a beautiful thing. And I hope, I guess I was trying to get. Remember the guy, Yellow Feather? He came on right when they were starting this journey. Right, he came on, and I got to be honest with you. A lot of y'all were kind of skeptical, but he, they did it. They got the deed, and they're making it happen. And so I was talking to him this morning, trying to get him to come on real briefly with us to talk about, the victory that they have and what they plan to do with the space. Me with my business mind, I already know, boy. If it was me, I know what I would do, boy, with that section right there. I know what I would do with it. Hey, you know. But I'm not in that mix. I'm just so happy. I saw my friend Tammy Mack posted a video not too long ago. She was out there on Bruce's Beach, and it made me really realize that I hadn't gone over there. And I think that one day I'm gonna take my picnic basket and I'm gonna go over there and chill at Bruce's Beach, and just kind of just because I can, right? Manhattan Beach, California. I'm over in that area sometimes, especially in the Redondo Beach area. I like it over there. Um, some good restaurants that I like to go to. Y'all eat sushi? There's a sushi place in Redondo Beach, uh, Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach. The Mexican restaurant right up in there that I like to go to. I even like, what's the comedian's name? George Lopez has a space over there. It's really good. So excuse me one moment, you all, while I try to assist our council member to get in and chat with us about all things Long Beach. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can just I'm going to send you this link, council member, via text. Just forwarded the email, but, hey, one moment, please. If y'all don't mind, I'm gonna take myself off camera for just a hot second while I make this thing happen. Is that okay with you? All right, hold on a minute. Yeah. All right. I think we got it together. Yes, yes, yes. Y'all doing okay? What's going on? Whew, just trying to do it. We over here making things happen. We all moving about, making it go down, dealing with this technology, baby. That's what we got to do, and just make it happen. But, can't stop, won't stop. This is what it is, organic, real. Long Beach is a great city to be. I'm glad I'm down here. I was up in the city of Inglewood yesterday. Let me grab him. This is the Council District 8 council member. About to be state assembly, I think. That's what I say. He's a good guy, too. There he is. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Greg. I'm
Oh,
sorry about the technical
oh,
difficulties.
there you are. Let's see. Yes, sir. No worries. No worries. Let's see. How's things going with you today?
Going pretty well. Going pretty well. We're off and running early this morning. Pretty busy. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have
Thank you for taking the time to get on with this. I just wanted to get a few words with you. I've been hanging around city hall meetings and everything, and I got some questions. you know, First of all, we're hearing about all of these, emergencies of the COVID-19 and everything like that. How are you doing in this space? And are you and your family well? And then just talk a little bit about how the city is seeing the emergence of these new, variances of COVID.
well, first of all, thanks for asking about me and my family. We are doing well. Actually, we're all together here. My son is home from college, and we are hunkering down and staying safe as much as possible. These new variants are vexing our public health agencies as well as our workforce, right? The COVID-19 pandemic is still among us, and so we still need to be vigilant and safe, and be thoughtful, and you know, exercise precaution as much as possible to the extent we can control it matters in our environment. Um,
Mhm, mhm,
yes,
mhm.
it's had an impact on our workforce and is having an impact on our city workforce, but every workforce out there. I'm a labor representative, and so I see it firsthand working with state employees on a daily basis,
Mhm.
and it's causing us to look at policies and how we do business. I certainly hope that we don't have to go back to mask mandates and stay-at-home orders. Right now, obviously, hospitalizations are going up, but the I think the good news is that we still don't have or aren't experiencing the fatalities or mortality rate that we were um, a couple of years ago, and so
Mhm.
that tells me that the vaccines and the boosters are working, and so I personally am vaxxed and boosted, and I think I'm healthier as a result of it.
Mhm. Yeah, me too. Me too. I've been blessed, man. Blessed, blessed, blessed beyond measure. Beyond measure. I was up in the city of Inglewood yesterday over in City Hall, and we were just kind of chatting about the region, and particularly Black political leadership. Yourself, Councilmember Richardson, Holly Mitchell, Reggie Jones Sawyer, on and on and on. James Butts. I mean, it's just on and on. And we're talking about how everybody is doing a great job of representing our community and everything. And I think that you're beginning to elevate now. You got a few terms there as a city council member, and now prayerfully you'll be going on to Sacramento and everything. How important to your heart is, just as a black man, representing our community? How important is that?
Well, it's a great responsibility, and I'm honored to have been able to be elected to 3 terms on the Long Beach City Council. This past week, I celebrated my 10th year on the City Council, and so experience as a public servant, and then long before then, I was involved in political campaigns and community uh, community work. And so I'm very, very proud of the work that we've been able to do. But also there's a responsibility to take that knowledge, and continue the work. And this is why I've thrown my hat in the ring to run for the 69th Assembly District. That seat became vacant in January, or it will be vacant. It's a new seat that was drafted through redistricting, and an existing state assembly member announced that he was stepping down. And so we had like 4 months to put together, a campaign. I'm fortunate to have been elected to make it into the top two and move into the next phase, going to November, and we're going to put together a robust campaign talking about the issues that people in the 69th Assembly District care about most. Housing, homelessness, healthcare, jobs, and the economy. These are all areas, and this is a very, very working class district that includes most of Long Beach, most of Carson, Signal Hill, and even Catalina Island. And so this is a critical time. I think the working families need a strong voice. They need somebody who is relatable, somebody who understands the struggle, and somebody who's been in the fight for close to 30 years. I'm ready to put all of my experience to work for the people in Sacramento on their behalf.
Yeah, we're out here putting this body of work together. I love it to elevate. That's good stuff. Good. It's funny. People don't think about Catalina Island. That's it's a thing. That's important. I love going out there. That's one of my retreats. Let me escape, but I'll be out there on the island kicking back. But people don't think about it is that governance has to make sure that they're okay out there.
Yes, and they have some unique issues. Yes.
Yeah. Right. All right. So here's my question. So I've been over there at City Hall a couple of times, trying to take care of art council for Long Beach business and everything. But every time I walk into your chambers, I know you see me from up there, but I'm always in awe. That place is just like, wow. I'm in these chambers. So what is the issue with the cannabis folks? Okay, like exactly, because I know they're going hard on you guys at the city council, and I've seen it 3 times now. I've been in City Hall. And I'm like, dang, they're advocating hard. What's the issue?
Well, I mean, they are. Well, cannabis is an evolving area of policy, and like I said, I've been on the city council for 10 years. I've seen several iterations of cannabis policy, trying to get to a place where, we are both decriminalizing, legalizing, but also, regulating the industry to a point where, it is it's manageable. And so we have and again, it's complicated. There's a lot of kind of moving pieces. It's and as I mentioned, it's an emerging kind of policy field. We're learning a lot more today than we knew, even just 2 years ago, 5 years ago, about cannabis, the policy, the economics behind it. And I think we have a responsibility to do what we can to keep the industry viable, right? Because of the illicit market that really is the competition for many of the legal cannabis operators. The regulatory framework that was put together mostly in Sacramento and local governments has put an undue burden in terms of taxes on the cannabis industry. And so what they're advocating for right now is, hey, take away some of these fees, reduce some of these burdensome taxes so that we can remain competitive, particularly with the illicit market. And obviously, cannabis is creating, a new economy. Over $10 million into the Long Beach City budget in the FY22. Our FY22 budget was derived from cannabis sales. That's significant, and it was much higher than was actually projected. I think our original projection was that it would be about $5 or $6 million a year. When we put our structures in place, and it's performing a lot better. That might have had COVID might have had an impact on that. We're not sure. We're still reviewing the data on that issue, but clearly cannabis is very lucrative for the city, but it's not as lucrative for the operators because of the many burdens. There's an excise tax that the state of California has put in place. There was the cultivation tax that was put in place, and I think the cultivation tax, I know we as the city of Long Beach, I brought forth an initiative several weeks ago to take a look at and look at the feasibility of eliminating the cultivation tax. It's a small percentage, but it's I think a step in the right direction to look at doing that. And so the state of California, I think the governor just recently signed a bill that does that as well, that accomplishes that on the statewide level. But the big issue to me is the excise tax. What you hear cannabis advocates coming to the city council advocating for is a reduction in just taxes at the local level, and so they're going to be looking to stay competitive, stay viable as an industry, an emerging industry that's going through some changes. And I think we as public policymakers have to look at not only look at cannabis as a economic driver, as a job creator, but also as a commodity that that is in demand, and we need to make sure that the product is safe, and consumers are not being unduly taxed.
Right. Yeah, this is really something. I mean, they come with a lot of passion, and I'm always wondering, are the lawmakers, are y'all really like? Is that effective when one takes the mic at the public comment section and is very exceedingly passionate? Do the lawmakers listen?
We have to listen because
Right.
that's our job.
Okay.
And I understand passion, but I also understand that there's this old saying that all politics is local, right? You could be. The issue could be in Washington, D.C. The issue can be in Sacramento, but people are able to organize and galvanize and express their displeasure with policy at every level at the local government level. And so, we as a city council, no matter what, if it's a policy that they are protesting, from the Supreme Court to the from the Congress, from Sacramento, we hear it at the local government level, and I think that's an allure, and some of why I enjoy serving at the local government level, because you get to hear and experience just about every level of government on the ground.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, we've been talking about the notion of freedom, and certainly. It's in the national consciousness now that the Supreme Court has overturned the Roe v. Wade. And I think it's always interesting when I look at the city of Long Beach having its own health department and all of that. What are you seeing as a policymaker? What's the city's reaction to a woman's choice in this space now that the Roe v. Wade has been overturned?
Well, I mean, we can go back to, I remember rallying in 2018, 19 in support of Roe versus Wade as a city council. We passed resolutions then. We recently passed resolutions, supporting Roe versus Wade. I think our city council is just about unanimous in support of a women's right to choose and women's reproductive health. It's important. It's an important issue. It's an issue that's going to be on the ballot here in November, and I think it's going to galvanize and wake up voters in California, particularly those who care about that issue, and I think that's most voters here in the state. It just shows that elections matter. Elections at every level of government matter. Your vote matters. You can't sit out and watch on the sidelines and be a spectator. You got to get involved. You have to make your vote count, but also you need to make your voice count, and then be vigilant and paying attention to what's going on in terms of the decisions made on your behalf at every level of government. We had somebody who was very irresponsible, in my opinion, elected to the White House. It was a folly. It was kind of a joke, to put a person like that in the office. And then, I think today we are paying the consequences of that, right? We're seeing that, it's important to have experienced leaders. It's important to have people who are committed to public policy. It's important to have people who care about people, right? Who are serving in public office at every level of government. And this is another reason why I think my candidacy for state assembly distinguishes me from, my opponent. It's years of experience. It's real commitment. It's working on the issues that people care about most, and connecting to our community. When you weigh candidates, you have to weigh those things out and really make good decisions about the people we elect.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really, really something, and it's glad to know that being so proactive in this space. And I don't want to keep you too much longer, but I do have another question. Okay, so like when we go down and I have always really loved how this public in Long Beach is so engaged with the city. I think if we could attach a Nielsen rating to the city council member meeting, it would probably be the highest rated program on Tuesday nights. I just think that because everybody is paying attention to what's going on in city council meeting. And with that comes, everybody's got something to say. Public, the public, they always criticizing or whatever. But one of the things is like, how does the city manage or decide on how long public comment needs to be? So like when I went there, I think we got 2 minutes to say what we need to say, and then boom, I was able to get up there, say my little speech, and I'm gone. But the other night it was 3 minutes. It was 3 minutes. But the other night it was like 90 seconds. Okay, so how does that happen?
Well, we do our best to accommodate public comment. It's important. It's an important part of the process, and you are absolutely right. The Long Beach City Council meetings we have pretty high ratings of individuals sitting at home watching the council meetings, but we also have pretty robust participation in our council chambers. I have attended, as a rep with AFSCME for many years, I've attended local government meetings all across Southern California, all across the state for that matter. I've seen very few public meetings that have the participation and civic engagement that we do in the city of Long Beach. And so recently we had to manage our public comments. And within the last couple of years, we've tweaked it to say if there are more than 10 people lined up, traditionally we gave 3 minutes to every speaker, and that would take our meetings until long after midnight, sometimes 2 a.m. Just trying to take in the public comment. And it was hard for the public, but it was also hard on the city staff and city council to be able to have to sit through 7-8 hour meetings every night, and particularly some of these big issues that come up can really kind of wreck your week. So we decided after 10 speakers, or if there are 10 or more speakers, we would reduce the time to 90 seconds per speaker. And I think when you take in totality, if you have 20, 30 speakers lined up, you're going to get a fair amount of public comment. You're going to get perspectives that you need from the public, but just not from each individual. So I think we try to do all we can to be balanced and fair to our public, to make sure that we're getting the public comment. But you also have opportunities to communicate with the city council through email, through electronic public comment. There are, and then we're also opening it up now with virtual meetings for the public to comment from comforts of their own home via telephone. And so I think we're doing a fair job with public comment, but it's never enough. We can never get enough public comment. And a lot of times I don't think folks realize that we, you know, as I'm about to go to the chiropractor, right? If I stop in the coffee shop, wherever we go as in a community, we're getting public comment on issues, right? People are talking to us about the issues that are important to them, or giving us their opinion on whatever the issues may be.
When you're doing that, so you do encounter, like, somebody might stop you on the street and say thus and so about an issue, and it makes you go back to your office and go, let me look into that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Often, all the time,
Right.
time. I could be walking my dog, and a neighbor may say, "Hey, can I have a few words with you? This is what I think about that." There are, there opinions and there are expert opinions, and there are actual subject matter experts in our community that are oftentimes silent voices that don't come to the city council meetings, and and are not comfortable taking the mic, but you take those opinions, those thoughts into consideration as we are shaping policy.
All right, now my two last questions. Number one, I just wanted to talk about crime in the city, in the region. I mean, it's starting to get a bit crazy out here, and we're trying to keep safe. We don't know. I mean, there's this spate of mass shootings going on, all of that, the crime. It's almost like we're almost overrun by the unhoused, and it's becoming very, very difficult. I mean, you can call the city all you want, but what are they going to do? It's like it's a lot of people out on these streets, and a lot of mentally ill people. Not only out unhoused, but sitting behind their computers and then going into schools and whatnot. What's the public safety plan in this city?
Well, we are I think, being as innovative as possible and responsive as possible to the challenges. And this is not a Long Beach problem. This is an issue that is impacting, the entire state and beyond, quite frankly. I think we might be dealing with some after effects of COVID-19, some after effects of some even failed realignment policies from Sacramento, and we have to adapt. I think the biggest challenge that we are seeing now is the proliferation of guns on our streets, ghost guns in particular. I was just briefing with our commander this morning in the North Division, and this continues to be a challenge, to finding guns in places that would surprise you. And you have to contrast that and take into consideration the climate we're in as well, with the calls for reform and policing as well, and we have to balance both those calls, but also the need for enforcement and public safety in our community. Most people who I talk to want safe neighborhoods. They want safe, livable, walkable communities to live in, and we have to deliver on that as a local government, but every government at every level. And so we're about to go into our budget process, and that's always an interesting process. It's a political process. It's a process that pushes our values as a city forward. And so looking very much forward to hearing the public comments related to crime, and so August 2nd, the city manager will release a budget, the mayor will release his proposed budget, and the city council will, through the budget oversight committee that I chair, will begin tackling those issues in short order. But in terms of funding, overtime, the type of policing that we want to have, do we want to see more community policing? You know, it was really nice to see just a couple of days ago police riding through along our business corridor on Atlantic Avenue on bicycles. You know, we want to see more of that, more engagement, more in different ways for policing that I think will inspire confidence in terms of public safety, but also hopefully deter crime. I'd like to see us utilize cameras a little bit more in technology. Those are controversial areas, but you know, we're not gonna solve crime. We're not gonna beat crime with just throwing more bodies and personnel necessarily. I don't think that works for us. It hasn't shown that it works. But creative, innovative ways to engage the public, but also be smarter about how we police is gonna I think help us long term.
All right. What's the blessed hope as you move up to Sacramento?
Well, my hope is to be able to go there and you know, take on the bold issues, be bold, be strong for our community, ask tough questions, sometimes go against the grain, and deliver for my district. You know, we have a very unique community in terms of working class people who deserve good quality air and need good quality water, that are expecting good livable communities, and so we have to deliver. We have to deliver on housing, affordability. We have to deliver on getting people off the streets, and we have a responsibility to healthcare and deliver on healthcare. I think you know, mental health is an area that wasn't talked about just a few years ago. We're talking about that a lot more today, and when we talk about healthcare, we have to really focus in on that space, because obviously there are literally hundreds of thousands of people in our state who are dealing with mental health crisis. We're living on the street that are dealing with substance abuse. We have to get people healthy.
All right, all right. I know you're busy guy, busy guy. I really, really love what you're doing, and thank you so much for taking the time out to sip coffee with us and chit chat about the issues. We have to have you come back. Got an open door over here. We got a space right here for you with your coffee cup with your name on it.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it, and congratulations on your work with the
Yes,
Art
sir.
Council. Appreciate your diligence, your consistency, and you know, always bringing forth innovative ideas for our community. So thank you so much, and look forward to working with you. Again, it's
Thank
always a
you,
pleasure to
sir.
be on. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, say hello to the family. What is that? The Oregon Ducks? Is that what I said? Go Ducks.
No, 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 we're beavers.
Oh, the Beavers. Okay, I didn't know. Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
Look,
we're
I
beavers.
didn't even start paying attention to that team until your son was good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Have a great day, sir.
Take care. Bye.
All right. There you have it. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Councilmember Al Austin. Thank you so much for coming on. For a short time. Busy man trying to make it happen. That's what's up. All right, you can listen to us on our Facebook page, Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Go over to Columbus Coffee Company page, Beach City Perspective. That is our emerging news media. So you might want to go to that page and join it, because you're going to be seeing a lot of increased activity on that Facebook page, and certainly on the Beach City Perspective section at Beach City Radio, beachcityradio.com. And then we're coming out and debuting soon a print component to that, so that you can have it in your hands, but it will always link you back to the online platforms. We're just dedicated to informing and inspiring the people. So there it is, Beach City Perspective Facebook page and the Beach City Perspective section on beachcityradio.com. Right? You can get it at Hannibal Media Group Facebook page, Dream Creator Studio Facebook page. You can just find us out here. We go every Tuesday and Thursday. We're talking about culturally relevant topics from global perspective. That's what we're doing. And we hope that you continue to support us. If you're listening to us on LinkedIn, thank you so much. We got a strong audience on that platform. So thank you over there at LinkedIn. If you're looking for us on YouTube, Coffee Conversations with Greg J, please like and subscribe. We're working on upping our algorithms so that we can gain more viewers there. We have a lot to say and a lot to offer our community from a global perspective. So participate, let us know. And we would love your support if you like and subscribe at the YouTube level. Audio portions are repurposed and put out there wherever you get your favorite podcast, Spreaker, Apple, iHeart, Spotify. It's just out there, man. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Doing the best that we can. A lot of things coming up here. Look out for our next Dream Creator Arts Village that's going on. I think that's the 13th of August. We know that the Long Beach Jazz Festival is also coming that weekend, the 12th, 13th, and 14th. And yeah, just a lot of great things happening in our community out here in the beautiful city of Long Beach. We represent Long Beach, Inglewood, and South LA. And we are beaming out to the world, the diaspora. That's what we're about right here. Coffee Conversations with Greg J. Always remember to love one another, love one another, love one another. Please, we need you to vibrate peace and love. Peace and blessings.